This stock could be a big buy or maybe not, but let's find out. So first off, read this disclaimer carefully. Then do your good deed of the day by liking and subscribing. So whether it's a big buy or a big sell, it determines if we can make money going long or short. The stock is called Rexford Industrial Realty. It's in the industrial space, in the specialized REIT business. 14% from the lows, 19% away from the highs. Here is Rexford Industrial's website. Yeah, very fancy, reinventing Southern California industrial property. So yeah, serving a regional economy larger than most nations. So yeah, focused exclusively on creating value by investing in industrial property throughout infill Southern California. Irreplaceable portfolio in the nation's largest, most sought-after industrial property market. Laser focused on increasing cash flow and shareholder value. Okay, that sounds pretty good. So, here is the stock. It's been around since 2013, and yeah, this looks it looks interesting because of the current action around the all important red 200 week moving average. A lot of tests. Um, yeah, unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of confidence yet. We see the bulls goof around, but they haven't really pulled off something big. That's a bit troubling, but it still is a support. This is more bullish than bearish, and I am leaning bullish, but I want the bulls to start to act pretty soon. Daily data points, it's a more messy picture. Resistance from the green 50-day moving average, and you also have a bit of a plethora of resistance above us. A lot of noise. So the primary event is on the weeklies. Looking here at these other indicators, basically in the neutral zone, it's a bit noisy. Looking at the dailies gets interesting. Look at accumulation distribution. So this is an indicator that shows you whether there's an inflow or outflow of money into a stock or an other security. This is a big inflow, but we haven't seen it yet in the price. So there's a bullish divergence between accumulation, distribution, and the price. Somebody is seeing some value. So let me go into my notes. On Rexford Realty, I will say that we have 200 VMA support and accumulation. We do have that. I will give the bulls a 5. I give them a 5 because they haven't done much yet with that 200-week moving average. They are protecting it. Of course, that is bullish, but it isn't like 9 bullish. It's a 5. They need to actually show that they can push the stock higher. If you just protect the support level, then the bears will use that zone as a place to put on short positions because they will then assume that maybe that support is about to break. Okay, let's look at the seasonality. So the seasonality here to the left, green the last 5 years, blue the last 7 years, pretty bullish into 8th of June. Interesting. Looking at May, so far it's not been that good, and looking at some of the previous years, going back to 2019, it's not a bullish month. It's not extremely bearish unless we are in 2022, which we are not, but 2022 is a bit of an omen. But here comes June. June is a very bullish month. That's very nice and green. Of all of these years, only 2 have been red. July also pretty good, so the coming months are rather interesting for this stock. In this case, I will give the bulls. In this case, the seasonality is pretty darn interesting. I think I will give the bulls a 7 here. I especially like that the coming months are bullish. With the context, with the 200-week moving average support, having to very bullish month on the horizon. That's not appealing if you are a bear. Indeed, it's the type of thing that will spook the bears. So let's just look at the fundamentals. Looking at price book ratio, really, really, really low. It's a value area, very viable back here in 2016. Also in 2018, value. Price to sales, also a pretty decent level. Yield, decent as well. Price earnings, also relatively low. Well, rather low, frankly. Let's look at the forecasts. Okay, very bullish. So the minimum price target is 19% above us. Average is 25-ish percent. Highest is 39-ish. This is pretty darn bullish price targets. Going here to the overview, we can see that the yield is at 2.7%, which also is, pretty good. So in this case, I will give the fundamentals. I think I will give them a bit of an 8. Actually, this is really good. Very good fundamentals. Doesn't mean it's a must buy, but because there are value traps, but these are good numbers. So let's do some relative performance analysis. So looking long term, 85% statistical correlation with S&P 500, 84% with IRR, which is the real estate ETF, 34% with the 10-year yield. Daily data points, 63% with S&P 500, 81% with the real estate ETF, and minus 28% with the 10-year yield. Okay. So what happens with the real estate ETF? IIR is going to have a bit of an effect on Rexford. So we have seen a big pullback in the real estate sector. We are not really at clean support here on the ETF, on the dailies. There's something horizontal-ish, support-ish happening. The green 50-day moving average also offering some support. RSI, PPO, dailies. It's sort of like in the neutral zone. Looking at seasonality, there is some bullish momentum here into 8th of June. That's nice to see. So far, 2.7% loss for May. It's one of the worst Mays so far, meaning the average May is usually more bullish, which from a more contrarian perspective could be bullish for us. Looking at June, very bullish month. July, really bullish. Really bullish indeed. July is definitively a bull month for the real estate sector. Okay. So now let's compare REXR against IIR. So when you use TradingView, you definitively want to make sure you pick the right instrument for the ticker, because you see that iShares Trust also has IIR, and this is in BOSA. This is BOSA Def Valores de Lima, which is very different from what we are comparing it against. The IIR, that is. Okay. Yeah, Rexford, it's been outperforming for some time. Recently seen a bit of a consolidation. RSI-wise, we are in a lower territory of the range, which is a bit bullish. On the dailies, yeah, I mean, it's we usually see that when we go down to the oversold region, we usually also go a bit further up. So there could be more left in this this rally. Seasonality is decent in favor of Rexford. Looking at May, 1.44% so far, but May has recently been pretty bad though for Rexford. June is pretty bullish, July bullish, also August. So some of the coming months usually see Rexford outperform the real estate ETF. So going into relative performance here, I think I will give Rexford a bit of a give it a 4. There are some mixed signals, but overall I do think it's good. If we end up with 6 in favor of the bulls, we are at 200 weekly moving average support. And we also see accumulation. There are bulls buying. That doesn't mean that they are correct though. So we need to have a stop as well. But all in all, more reasons to be bullish than bearish. Okay, I do see that we have some time left. So let's go into the boosts and look at some of these leveraged products. Well, products with leveraged ETFs that can be traded. So Amazon here, yeah, it's on a rally. I think it's a bit late to go bullish now. Maybe there's a double top here in play. Let's look at it. So around here you have a double top potentially. Then again, Amazon is emerging from a lower level, so this isn't like double top at a high. Okay. Yeah, let's look at the seasonality. Seasonality shows that there's a bit of a weaker period ahead of us. May 4.6% so far, which is a pretty decent May. June has a bit of a tendency though to be bullish. Yeah, so let's continue down the list. Technically, might be a bit of a short signal, but then again, the issue here for the stock is that we saw the seasonality was a bit too bullish to really get confident on the short. So here is Google. They came out with a bunch of AI news, really going to compete with OpenAI. The big difference, though, between OpenAI and Google is that OpenAI, they have a product that anyone can test. When it comes to Google's AI, it's like you need to be like on a waiting list. It's a different thing. I would like to test it, to ask some difficult questions, because what's very impressive about GPT is that when you push it and push it, it usually can handle the situation. And that is what I really want to see from Google's AI, is that when I push it, that it can reason. It can find an answer that makes sense. So yeah, but anyway, what we have seen, it's very interesting. What we have heard is interesting, but the big difference is that in actual practice, we do see far more proof in the pudding from GPT. Okay, but big rally here. Market is bullish on what they have heard so far. Now looking at the dailies, big rally, but after these really big moves, I got the indicator. We do end up very, very overbought though. Looking at daily RSI here, this is very high level. Also the PPOs really high. Looking at the weeklies, not as extreme, but we definitively are rather overbought on the dailies. Another thing here is this red 100. No. Blue 100-week moving average, which is a key resistance level to contend with. Looking at the seasonality, it's a bit choppy going forward here. Looking at the table view, 9% so far for May, which is the second best May ever for Google. June is much weaker, as you can see. July is pretty strong, but June is the next month. Looking at price book, price to sales, PE. We are not like really high, but we are not like low either. Looking at the forecasts, 10% upside price target on average, so that's bullish. So yeah, we looked at a bunch of stuff. We looked at Rexford. We also looked at some stocks. I think that Google, it's very interesting to see what Alphabet, right? What Alphabet has in the pipeline on AI. There's very good reason to think that they will perform well. However, we have seen a lot of momentum from GPT. A lot of people are using it. and there are a lot of plugins that are coming. So it's not like GPT can't do what we have seen from Alphabet. It's more that GPT has been a bit, more careful about who has access to the plugins, a bit of a tactical move. But the news now from OpenAI is that it will be released more broadly. And going forward, we will most likely see a less cautious tactic from OpenAI because you had this big thing where people were like signing a paper that we are very worried, very worried about AI, and there were also people connected to Google who signed that paper, and now all of a sudden Google is like all out there on AI, really really like bullish on it, proactive, uh, and that will change OpenAI as well. So I do think that these are very exciting times, but it could be that a lot of the good news about Google's Alphabet's tactic is priced in, and what they have shown, you do have the resistance level. So yeah, could be a pullback, but I'm not going to be like roaringly like bearish on the stock. It's more that there's a potentiality now of a bit of a cool down given the very high RSI levels and resistance above us.